Welcome to NTR Radio. I'm Tom Forster Nubis.
I'm K-Gods.
And I'm VZ Mark II.
And we're sorry for starting so late, but we've been having some tech problems.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah, but this time it was a little worse than usual for some reason. One thing I would like to point out about that is I love how you can have your settings from the last time you did it untouched and then start things and it doesn't work right. Isn't that great? Like you can have...
There's some kind of cosmic force out here that really doesn't want this podcast to happen.
But you know what I mean? Like, isn't that just like a weird thing that you can leave your settings exactly when they were perfect last time, and then when you come back and you haven't messed with them since, and it sounds like complete ass? Isn't that great? There's something weird about that. So I hope everybody's been doing good. It's been raining around here, so I haven't.
Speaking of technical problems, if you want to get into the IRC, what you're going to do is go over to ntrradio.net, hit the chat link, give yourself a nickname in the box, and try about 3 to 5 times to get into the IRC channel.
You know what's going to happen is you're going to look over there and see like 15 different guests that couldn't get in.
Yeah, exactly. Alternatively, you could hit up your favorite IRC client pointed at irc.ryzen.net and join us in the pound or hash SLC media channel. In addition, we are all up on Twitter at TAnubis, at VZMK2, at Immortal_KGods, and at NTR_radio. And as always, the email address to interact with the show is ntrradio@gmail.com.
Yes, Anubis is still practicing for that auctioneer part.
I want to make it into one of those YouTube videos where they're taking cattle auctioneers and they put a rap beat behind them.
I've never seen one of those. That's actually pretty ingenious. That's pretty ingenious. Dude, really.
That's pretty remarkable. Like that, it sounds like they're dropping fat rhymes. Like when realistically someone's buying a cow.
Do you mean the thing where they?
Yeah, and then they drop a beat behind it, and it sounds like Twista's trying to rap something. Where's my snare at?
Hey guys, we're auctioning idols. Idol here, idols.
Well, be careful because the ANN forums might actually think you're serious. So they hate the freaking idol industry.
Well, they'll think you're selling like women as chattel or something.
Yes.
You know, it's like, oh, we're selling this one to the highest bidder. Yeah. Someone out there will be dumb enough to believe that.
This idol has never been touched.
Except by
commands an extra premium. That's terrible. Extra premium. The untouched ones are extra premium.
So what have you been watching?
Well, I dropped one show from the season because I really wanted to like it, but just wasn't doing it for me. And that's Cinderella 9, the baseball one.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't really. First off, the art wasn't really that great.
Wasn't tickling your pickle?
Nah, just you know what? There'll be better stuff. If it really,
I'm sorry. I will never say that again.
So you're saying you treated it like the first baseball game I ever went to? You just left.
What? Did I miss something here?
No, I've gone to a baseball game one time and I found it cripplingly boring, and just left.
Wow.
Well, like I said, it's trying to really be like Love Live, almost like beat by beat,
along with like every other idol show.
Well, except for Idolmaster.
Well, except for the original Idol show.
You know, not being Love Live because I love Love Live as well, but more shows should try to be like Idolmaster and stop trying to be like Love Live.
Well, between Love Live and Idolmaster, which one got monumentally more success despite being a much newer franchise?
Well, I say they're both equal in their own ways.
I would say just according to what I've seen, Love Live is far and away a bigger commercial success.
Well,
so
here's
the reason. Well, okay, so yes, if you factor in both the U.S. and Japan, yes, Love Live is bigger. If you're only factoring in Japan, then yeah, maybe Idolmaster is at most as big as Love Live is. Love Live is huge.
For some reason, Bang Dream has gotten a lot of fans lately.
They probably people coming into it probably thought it was porn.
It does sound like a porn name. But that's the one where I couldn't even get into the original show, and I know the reason is because there's a mobile game for it. That's why.
Gotta get that whale money.
Jeez. So got a bit of an announcement.
Okay, then I got.
Yeah, I'm heading to Akon.
Yeah,
Nice.
Not the rapper.
Oh, jeez, yeah. What's funny about that is I almost actually added him
At Akon
on social media. Yeah, and I caught it before. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm going down there. I'm going the day before and I'm leaving the day after. That's usually how I do it.
Right.
So it's June 27th to July 1st, I believe, or something like that. No, that's not right. We're leaving July 1st. Fuck, I can't remember. It's 4 days. I already bought the ticket and all that stuff. I got all the kind of peripherals and all that taken care of.
When is it? In July, you said?
No, it's June 27th to June 31st.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a 4-day con.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm going there with a couple of friends. There's a couple of local guys going to be hanging out. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm sure listeners will enjoy this, but I'm bringing my new digital voice recorder.
Yeah.
It's much better than the old one. It's similar, but there's a couple things about it that make it better. One, it actually records into MP3 instead of .wave, which makes it easier to work with.
Makes it easier to work with, but it's lossy audio.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. But the thing is, you don't have to convert it. And thus, you don't have to play it through a fucking, like, Windows movie player or something.
I don't know what you're talking about. I just
no,
Audacity everything.
Not .wave. I'm sorry. I said .wave. I
Yeah.
actually mean it. It's like one of those fucking things like .move or something.
Ew.
Yeah, it was one of those things that like no. It was WMV. I think because it would only play through an actual video thing.
Mm.
Oh,
I
so
don't know why.
It's recording audio as a video? Yeah, Windows Media is recording audio as a video file.
Yeah, basically.
What kind of jank ass voice recorder records audio as a video file?
A really old one.
Wow.
Let's be real here. I've had that one years before it finally kicked the bucket. Anyway, this one, you can choose what you want it to, and I put it on MP3, of course. Again, it's just more manageable. And you don't have to do a lot of converting and shit so people can listen to it. I mean, seriously, what app doesn't play MP3?
Seriously.
I mean, the ones that only play .ogg.
.ogg.
Oh, Ogg Vorbis. They really thought that was going to take off. Anyway, moving back. Besides that, one of my buddies is bringing his GoPro setup.
Yeah.
So we're planning on recording large chunks of it, and we will definitely be posting audio snippets, clips, anything entertaining.
Gonna be doing any one-handed rail hops?
Only if there's a fire.
Good call.
And you need to kick fucking Sosuke out of the way and get...
Sosuke? Listen, if there's one person I'm not kicking out of the way, it's Sosuke Sagura. I'm following him.
I didn't say him.
What?
I just said Sosuke. I used a generic name I could come up with.
Oh, so Kenji Donut.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but we use that one all the time.
I like Kenji Donut.
You just like donuts.
This is also true. Two things can be true at the same time, K-Gods.
Okay. So anyway, I'm bringing the audio recording equipment. He's bringing the video recording equipment. Also going to bring one of those portable speakers I got like for last holiday season.
Ah.
We'll see about that. We'll see how much room I got because the airline I'm using actually they charge you extra depending on how much your shit weighs, of course.
Ah.
So that might add more that I don't want. So I get charged an extra $30 or some bullshit. Again, it's not a whole lot, but you don't want to be doing that. So we're going to be doing that. That's going to be cool. I don't really know if there's any particular guests or anything like that I'd care about. I'm mostly going, to hang out with people and buy stuff and check out a couple of panels here and there.
Right.
So unless they sneak in Tamino or something at the last minute, I doubt I'm going to care. And nor do I think he would ever want to come to fucking Texas.
Just say it's the Texas colony.
Something tells me he'd be like, wait, what? Anyway, so gonna do that. Got it all squared away. All the stuff's paid for. Now we just gotta hope that there's no bullshit like what happened last year, where the airport decided, hey, we're gonna cancel your flight because of inclement weather. I doubt that's gonna happen this time. That was during a snowstorm,
Right.
So hopefully we don't get hit with any kind of flood shit. I mean, because it has been kind of nasty down there. Should be good though. Got a lot of fun stuff to do, and again, having recording stuff, we'll try to get a bunch of fun, entertaining stuff to upload, even if not on here. Maybe just like a download, just sort of a supplement in the show notes or something like that.
Right.
As for watching stuff, I did not watch a whole lot because there's just been a lot of shit going on. New vehicle, everything, and a bunch of other crap. I don't know if I mentioned that last time, but I have a new vehicle.
Yeah.
Don't get too excited. It's not fancy. It's just a modern, economical car.
I actually did watch some stuff. Nothing from the current season, but it's two things I watched. Didn't quite finish either of them, but while we were at AB, which we'll cover in the second segment, we actually watched most of The Wind Rises.
Okay.
So that's the Studio Ghibli movie about the gentleman who designed the Zero fighter from World War II. I definitely enjoyed it.
Wasn't that the one they said was freaking fascist propaganda or some shit?
Yeah, that was the one that was controversial for no reason.
Because it wasn't because it had a sort of like we love our country bent.
Well, I guess it's because it doesn't vilify the guy who designed the airplane enough. Yeah, the guy designed an airplane. Yes, it was used for. That entire conversation upsets me because number one, it really doesn't.
It's idiotic.
It's idiotic, but that's productive. It really doesn't capture the point of the movie. It doesn't acknowledge some pretty core themes to the film. And it's just a very simple point that it's like, yes, war is bad. We know. We already know. We understand that.
There's thousands of movies to give you that.
I bet they used the term jingoistic.
I would not be surprised. That's a common one. Normally, you hear that from the British, though.
Yeah, but a lot of these people use that term. I've seen.
I don't even remember if that the specific argument used the term jingoistic, but all I'm saying is it missed the entire point of the movie. It's a pretty pointless argument to be fair. Mm-hmm. And yeah, here's one I found back in the day. This is 5 years ago. The headline is During Boston Film Critics Vote, member calls Miyazaki's The Wind Rises morally repugnant.
Morally repugnant.
Morally repugnant. Yeah, so you're not... basically, you're not allowed to make a film that does anything but put the person who designed an airplane. All the guy did was design an airplane. You're not allowed to put that in anything but the most negative light possible, apparently.
Well, let's be real here. These people are the same people that would put their political opponents in a gulag. So I don't want to hear about moral repugnancy from these people.
So it'd be like the guy that invented it would be like, I don't know, the guy that would invent the revolver and only put him in the most negative.
Oh, you mean like they do to Kalishnikov? Even though he himself says, I don't feel bad at all.
Well, here's the thing. The guy, he wanted to design airplanes, so he went to work for Mitsubishi. He went to the university, did all that to work for Mitsubishi, because those are the people who needed airplanes to be designed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They just happened to be used for war. So you can draw the line all the way back, but I don't think there's a real point to doing that. And I think when people do that, it betrays what their true intention is for whatever their media they're consuming.
Mm-hmm. Well, it just reveals that if the media they're consuming doesn't agree with them politically or doesn't make any kind of stand whatsoever, it's bad.
Well, it betrays that the entire reason they consume media is to have their
things affirmed.
Their personal whatevers.
Their confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Or just to have whatever personal views they hold reinforced, rather than to kind of just surrender to the world that's being presented to you and immerse yourself in it and immerse yourself in the story.
Why do you think these people are always so damn depressed and shit?
Maybe there's something related to that. I don't know. Maybe there's something related. Maybe the fact that they can't engage with escapism, and the fact that they always kind of really depressed all the time. Maybe there's something related to that. I don't know. But that's one thing I watched. The other thing I'm watching that I've been slowly working through is the Area 88 OVA.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Dude, I'm back on my fighter jet shit. Let me tell you.
I just got this hilarious visual of, I don't know, 5-10 years from now, you have staged a fucking theatrical play based on Top Gun. Where you've got fake fucking models on behind the thing and everything.
But yeah, I've been enjoying Area 88.
And
And
I'm not surprised you like that.
Oh, it's really good.
Again, I think you've already seen this, but if you haven't, I'll throw it out there anyway. Definitely check out 801 TTS Airbaths.
I think
I need to see that.
Yeah, I think I'm 5 episodes into that one.
Yeah. That one didn't really get as much attention. I just remember back in the day seeing it on VHS tape trailers. Yes, I was around back then.
Mm-hmm.
And ADV was too.
Hey.
I actually have a few more things to talk about that because I'm still getting through to Victory Gundam. I'm up to episode 19.
Oh, you still got quite a while then.
Yeah.
It's a pretty long one, yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm watching only a few at a time type of thing.
I'll be real. When I watch a show that I know I'm going to like, even if I haven't seen it before, I usually do take it in slowly to really savor it.
Mm.
I mean, that's definitely true when I watch shows I already know I like that I've seen before. Sometimes I'll run especially with OVAs. You just really kind of absorb it. Maybe I'm just different than other people, but that's something I like to do.
I have a bunch of other Tomino things to. I'm gonna get to after that. I'm gonna get to First Gundam.
Which you've seen that, obviously.
Well, I've only seen the movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the only TV I've seen is from the when it was on.
Oh, that horrible dub.
So.
Ooh,
I want to watch all.
That dub was rough.
Well, I'm gonna laugh at the really bad mecha animation, but I'll still enjoy it for the characters.
Dude, how can you hate it? It's got the bright slap.
Oh no, I don't hate. Don't get me wrong. I like them.
No, I'm saying you won't hate it because of various features that are in there.
Yeah, and the movies were great. The compilation.
But the thing about the movies, as much as I like them, is there's certain elements about them that cut out what I thought were cool parts.
Yeah.
I think the whole Garma thing is handled a lot better in the TV series. I also think, I mean, you might not like him or not, but Mukube has a lot, or Vey, or however, it's BV. I've been seeing it through subs for so long. It's either or. Didn't get nearly as much screen time in the movies. So you didn't really get a sense of how fun of a villain he was.
Right. The show. So besides the shorts, Cinderella Crack, and Joshi Kosei, I recommend that one. I'm watching. The other shows I'm watching is Hitori Bochi, which is all right. It's kind of average, but it's that's the one about the really shy girl. Told you about. But the show of the season that I'm really enjoying is Senko-san. If you need to watch something from the season, not that you have to, but if you need to watch, I recommend that one.
Again, more than that, I think I would rather just watch some older stuff than stuff I'm not as interested in.
That's perfectly fine.
Or even rewatch something I already like.
Yeah.
It happens. This last season did not really hold much for me. Their Shield Hero is still going on, so I'll keep following that.
You know what? I'm finding that a lot of people seem to be like that, where it's like new stuff doesn't seem to be drawing in, except for maybe one or two things.
Yes, please. Down with seasonal anime culture. Get rid of that shit.
I mean, I like watching the new stuff, but even I'm sort of I'm watching less new stuff. And
we should probably put that in perspective. We don't hate new stuff that's coming out. We dislike the culture that's built around it.
Yes, which is why I said down with seasonal anime culture and not down with seasonal anime, because that would just ruin anime. I'm saying,
sure.
I don't like this mentality where, okay, we're gonna watch all the new stuff this season and then forget about it as soon as the new season begins.
Well, people. I'm sorry, but I was going to say, holy shit, people complain about burnout. I was like, yeah, you're going to get burnout if you're watching 10 shows from the season.
And not like 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes, you will get burned out if you're watching a whole ton of anime, and you're in 2 to 3 of those are hate watches. Yes, you're going to get burned out, and there's no surprise you get burned out. You kind of deserve to get burned out if that's the decision you make.
I always try out stuff in the beginning of the season, but that doesn't mean I stay with it, If it doesn't draw me in, it's not going to draw me in, and, that just... I don't have any problems with dropping the show fair. So... Niwa in the chat says, I'm tired of seasonal waifus. Stop waifu abuse.
I was actually going to say something similar along those lines, but she beat me to it.
Yeah, down with seasonal waifu culture. Don't
Don't
waifu a character if you're not gonna fucking check
that next season you won't even recognize or won't even basically give the time of day to.
Seriously.
Like I'll give you a perfect example of a character who was real big, not so much now, but is still hanging in there, and actually a personal favorite, Hestia.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Well, yeah, because I posted it in the thing. Never mind. But it's true. Was really big, sort of meme, in a way. but still manages to hang in there. I think a lot of people like the design. I know I do.
Of course.
They're getting another season next
And
year.
I'm perfectly fine with that too, because I like those kind of high fantasy type shows like that.
I think didn't a movie just come out in Japan for that? I think it did.
Yeah, I can't remember what they named it, and I'm pretty sure I fucked that up. That's not high fantasy, but it's closer to D&D kind of shit.
Yeah.
Again, so is Shield Hero for that matter.
The actual term is
Isekai.
Isekai.
Isekai. And number one, Isekai does not necessarily this is what dumb people think Isekai is. Isekai doesn't necessarily mean it's fantasy.
No.
It means another world.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, for many of these people, a shower would be that other world. Sorry,
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
the truth smells, man.
I went into my shower and ended up in another world. There you go. There's your
There's your next light novel title.
Yeah.
I decided to take a shower,
and the soap was gone.
After 2 months, and then I went up in another world. Something like that.
I'm sorry, man. If you've ever been to a con and you've undoubtedly have encountered con stench. It just happens. Even if people are doing it, it happens just simply because of all the body heat. But there's always that one person that you know didn't shower the entire time you were there, and they smell like it.
You know, because you can see the cloud.
Yeah, but it's not even. It's the lack of deodorant. It's not.
Well, yeah, that too. But no, they'll have the thing where you'll go by and be like, something smells dead.
And I'm like, see, that's why cons. You know how I don't know if cons do this anymore. They give you like a little baggie.
Yeah. It's usually filled with their itinerary and all that.
Yeah. They should just start putting like soap and deodorant.
I was actually thinking of doing something like that with the Ashike. Speaking seriously, like how a little bag with the Ashike branding on it, with a tiny little thing of deodorant, a little thing of soap, a little thing of like mouthwash and shit, and fucking hand sanitizer to actually give to people out at cons so they can keep themselves clean and healthy.
And now we come full circle, because in the very first episode of this podcast, we made this joke about handing out bars of soaps and things like that.
Maybe I'll even draw,
Because we talked about we'd said it a little differently, and I remember this because it was really funny at the time.
We were probably a lot ruder about it.
Not really.
Okay.
No, we actually, well, depending on how you want to think of it, we talked about how security walking around with their walkie-talkies and stuff would be also handing out bars of soap.
Just pull someone aside, hand them a bar of soap, and give them that look like, I gave you this.
Also mints, because I've encountered the con breath.
That's why I'm saying mouthwash, bar of soap, thing of deodorant.
Sponsored by Curiously Strong Mints. Hey, I didn't say their name.
Anyway, we watching anything else?
I did watch something that wasn't anime, but it was really entertaining. I did watch, again, probably not to you guys. I watched a special on the Battle of Fredericksburg, which is a big Civil War battle. It was basically pretty ugly one. I mean, they all were, but specifically that one was pretty nasty. It's up there with Bull Run, Antietam, Gettysburg. Again, history nerds will like it. Will understand what I'm talking about. They had like your Irish Brigade and all that shit.
Right.
Lee basically pulled some shit. And if it wasn't for him, that entire war would have ended a lot sooner. Just, I think, because he pulled off a lot of strategic coups and basically drew it out. in a way that otherwise probably wouldn't have occurred. But anyway, I don't want to get too political here. I mean, there's no way to not politicize that war. It just can't be done, really.
Yeah. And on that note, I'm going to hit up the break. Keep it right here on NTR Radio. Welcome back to NTR Radio.
Da, 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 da.
So, last weekend I was in Boston for Anime Boston 2019.
You mean you weren't dumping tea?
No. The tea party was another date. Had to reschedule that because anime is more important.
Woot.
So yeah, again, this is a con I hit up every year. Probably definitely by far my favorite convention.
Yeah, I got a quick question about it. I think you've covered it before, but I just want a refresher on it.
What up?
Didn't you say that this is one of those conventions that actually have an active policy on not really letting other nerd stuff take over?
Yes. Part of their policy is, and I believe the reason for that, don't quote me on this, but I believe part of the reason for that is because the organization behind the convention is a 501c3, and as a result, like, they can't deviate from their charter.
Okay,
And their charter,
so it's more.
It's like it's an anime and Japanese culture organization, so they can't really deviate too far from that without getting into trouble.
Right, which makes more sense why they're not doing it. Because it certainly isn't because they're purists, I doubt.
Oh no, this is one of these conventions that is relatively strict. Like, relative to other conventions, they're pretty strict about things having to have some level of relation to anime or Japanese culture in their programming.
So no, the feminist theory.
You
that
can have feminist
shit can
theory in
be
anime.
there.
Yeah, as
Actually,
long as it's
can.
relating it to anime. You can't just have you just can't have like
Doctor Who or some shit.
yeah, Doctor Who or MLP or other media stuff that's not related to anime.
Steven Universe counts as anime. No.
Oh, Jesus Christ! If I have to friggin' listen, I went off on that one isekai joke earlier. Don't make me go off on another joke, because that's some shit I'm done with too. But yeah, so again, as always, arrived up Thursday, got ourselves situated. Stayed in a different hotel this time. Usually we stay at the Sheraton, which is connected directly to the convention center. This time we stayed at the Marriott, which is a short walk, but still, like, it's a short indoor walk. Yeah. So the hotel was actually pretty ballin', and let me tell you why. They made a substantial upgrade to the elevators. We're now living in the future, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you how these elevators operate.
Oh gosh, I'm getting these Willy Wonka fucking things going on here.
So you step up to the elevator bank, and number one, it's not buttons anymore. It's a touch screen. You hit your finger on the floor you want to go to. It tells you which elevator's coming for you. Once the elevator arrives, you step into the elevator. No buttons inside the elevator, because you already chose your floor at the elevator bank. So the elevator just goes to the floor that you selected, and you get out and you're done. And that's what all the elevator banks are like. So on every floor, it's just this touch screen, and the elevator comes and gets you, and you step in the elevator, and there's nothing you need to do.
Well, we're truly living in AU6.
AU0006. This is the future.
006. Yeah. Soon it's going to be 0007.
Yeah.
See, that's the great thing about that joke, is it will never not work.
So yeah, the hotel was pretty ballin'. Other than that is,
you know what these hotels need, because they're catering to an anime con. They need
for one weekend.
They need maids. They need maids
for one
That's
weekend.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah,
welcome home, master.
Yeah, there's
right?
There's no way they would do that.
Number one, if I step up in my hotel room and there's already someone there, I'm kicking their ass. Number two, there's no way they're gonna invest in that level of service for one weekend.
It's not only that, and forget all that. also the whole Me Too thing would be furious about it.
Yeah, the Marriott organization would
you get your own personal maid every room.
Yeah, no, the Marriott organization would get smashed on for doing that.
By like identity politics people. Guarantee it. Like
it's just I'm so creative. But I guess some people don't want. Like,
it's too creative.
Yeah.
Also, it's too expensive. There's no way they would freaking go for that.
It's too creative. That's what people should start saying if they're when they're getting like shot down for bad ideas or something like that.
It's a little too creative.
Little too creative.
So yeah, first day, I dropped the ball pretty hard and did not pre-register. So first day I was waiting in line, which wasn't actually too bad. Anime Boston has, I don't know what they did. I'm pretty sure it's magic at this point, but their line management.
Can you feel the magic?
Not that magic.
Well, there was a gathering.
Can you feel the magic?
So their line management is off the hook this year. Like the registration line was a registration line, but it actually was not too bad, and they kept it moving. They had plenty of booths open to register, and it was quick and painless process.
Did you do the thing where you basically just like run your phone through it?
No, because that's only for pre-registered people.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I had to step up to the thing and hand them my ID and
fill out something or
just tell them what name I wanted, which they spelled it wrong, but I don't really blame them because they're processing however many people at once.
Yeah, you can't get too excited.
Yeah, so I was time and force Anubis for the duration of this con.
You should have went back in time and fixed that.
You know, I could have done that, but that would be too much of a hassle than just going as time and force. What I really should have done is just wrote TE Anubis and be done with it, but
then they probably would have spelled it TEA since you're in Boston.
Yeah, they would have thrown me into Boston Harbor. That would not have been a good time.
No.
Okay. But yeah, so we stepped up in the convention.
When you say the first day, do you mean day Friday. 1, not day 0? Okay.
Yeah. Stepped up in the convention, and myself and my friend Gavin had to show the other two friends around because that's the first time they had been to Anime Boston. And if it's your first time, the convention center layout can get a little bit confusing.
Memo to AX.
But yeah, so we showed them around, showed them where everything is, the game room and the main stage, all the panel rooms, all that.
Mm-hmm. Just basically sort of like the tour guide experience.
Exactly. So we did all that. Gavin and I actually went to the programming operations room because Anime Boston has started really taking care of their panelists.
Okay.
So they began to implement this last year, but they really went ham on it this year. First things first, when I submitted my panel and got the okay, got the approval, they invited me to a hidden section on their Discord for panelists.
Okay, that's cool.
That's number one. Number two is you arrive at Anime Boston, step up in the panel operations room to check in, say, okay, hey, I'm here. It's this I'm doing this panel, so I have to sit there with a straight face and say, oh, what's your panel? The Beginner's Guide to Effed Up Hentai.
And they basically gave you a pat on the back, gave you your margarita, and gave you you're basically customized maid.
Yes, exactly. So I went in there, checked in. They give you a little ribbon to hang on the bottom of your badge that says panelist. They give you a little bag of candy, which will come into play later on in my synopsis. And they give you some swag, a poster, and usually a t-shirt, but they were out of my size, so they gave me the second volume of a certain magical index manga.
Interesting. Okie doke. So basically, you showed your friends around.
Yes.
You went to this sort of sort of like panel congressional thing. Or whatever.
I checked in at Panel Ops, and by that time the dealer room was open. So we entered in there, and listen, anyone who's been to a con dealer room knows you enter as a group and you basically leave by yourself because everyone gets separated. So like,
one of two things happens. Either you start moving as a group and eventually people just start breaking away.
Yep. Because
they start getting too interested. Or what ends up happening is you just agree to start is at the very beginning to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which over time we've just started doing that. It's like, okay, we do what we need to do when we meet over there at that Coin Star or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, meet here at this time.
Or once you're done.
Yeah, exactly.
That way we can, because trying to look for people is a complete bitch.
Yeah, you're not going to find people in the dealer room. Unless you run into someone by chance, you're not going to find people.
And don't even think of trying to call them. Your reception is complete garbage.
It depends on the convention. Because I could receive calls fine anywhere I was in that convention center.
Really? Well, at AX, you sure as fuck couldn't do it.
AX is probably a different story. I've heard, like, I don't know if my equipment's just good, but I've heard bad things about the Javits Center. But I had perfect reception all the time in there.
Did you have Sprint?
No.
I'm sorry. I had to take that dig at them because they're always, every call is crystal clear.
But yeah, so we hit up the dealer room. Of course, always the first booth I'm looking for in the dealer room is the Faku booth.
Yeah, okay.
So I hit that place up. So Bobby was there, and Gavin and I shot the shit with him for a bit. We each bought a couple manga. I got Darling You Drive Me Mad by
I like the name of that.
SK. Very good book. And S&M Ecstasy by Michi King.
Not familiar with that one.
So I got those two.
Do you know what they got, if anything?
I don't remember what Gavin picked up. Yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, after that, we basically hung out for a bit because we had also... So last year I mentioned that they had a maid cafe. And the Panda and I were going to try and get in, but we saw the line and we were like, nope.
It's one of those things like, yeah, no.
Yeah, exactly. So we all decided, hey, let's hit up the maid cafe because the line is short. So they have time slots for seating at the maid cafe. So we got in line for that.
They have time slots.
Oh, see, that would work with him though.
Time slots.
It's like these are I don't know, cat girls that exist sort of outside of the continuum.
Yeah, they jump between, they can move throughout space-time.
It's like sliders or something.
Sliders.
Did you ever watch that show?
Yes.
Oh, I remember that.
I'm glad you did, so you would even know what I was fucking talking about.
Did they ever get home in the end of that show, or did it just?
I don't know. I only saw random episodes of it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things like Quantum Leap. I'd see episodes of it. I saw more of that, but I honestly didn't see all of them, and I don't know. I just wanted to make that joke because we're talking about time travel and sluts.
But yeah, so we did hit up the maid cafe, and it's a pretty cozy place. So it's like a little place that has food. They've got coffee and whatnot.
Mm.
And then they have the maids, and they're all milling about. You get photo ops. They'll sit down, and each table has like a little tabletop game that the maids will play. Cute girls, pretty good place, great place to sit down and relax if you can get a seat.
Yeah, in case you can't get like into a panel or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what we usually do when we're tired around.
But yeah, that was good. It was good to sit down. It was good to eat. And other than that, I hit up 2 panels.
All right.
Okay.
So, the first one's actually pretty special. So, a while back, far before AB, a gentleman who follows me on Twitter had approached me. He goes by @Shinden9.
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, so he had a proposition for me. He wanted to do a panel about how corporate interests are trying to determine the direction of anime fandom and how that sort of happens and the goods and bads about that. And so he'd submitted this panel and asked if I wanted to get involved in that. And so I said, yeah, I'm on board. So we both showed up for that. And it was a pretty interesting panel. It was pretty interesting. There was quite a bit of audience participation. Some people had dissenting opinions. It was a very good discussion. I would absolutely like to do something like this more in the future because this is definitely a conversation that needs to be ongoing. But yeah, we talked about how a lot of the stuff we've been talking about in previous episodes of this podcast about how there's an incentive from companies in the licensing market to expand the market rather than serve their loyal current market.
Right.
All the stuff like that and why that's a bad thing and what that creates in fandom spaces. Like a lot of the backlash you see against young characters and lolly and like all the like people posting FBI memes to Japanese artists. A lot of that stems from the fact that people get into anime through marketing by companies, and it's not like people like me and people like you guys who got into anime at a low level and slowly built that up. Now you're inundated with anime. Like if you go to Crunchyroll and you just have all the anime that's on there, and you're not slowly acclimated to the culture. So a lot of people who are culturally incompatible, either through on a fundamental level or just by sheer fact that they haven't been acclimated, they haven't been brought up into the culture. They see things that culture shock them, and that's how we get these FBI memes. But I
don't disagree.
Go on.
One of the things that let's be real here. When you got into anime, it really depends on when and how. But in my case, a lot of these things, like you said, were kind of slowly revealed. Not to make it sound like it's like a weird Ponzi scheme or some shit, but like incest in anime, for example. Like it was one of those things you would see like in Tenchi Muyo.
Well, it's like you would see this kind of stuff eventually, but the problem is when you've got a Crunchyroll and you've got a Funimation, and their marketing is based on, okay, we have a bunch of anime, let's just throw anime at people, and
Right.
now
And
they're trying to grow this culture around. Okay, we're gonna watch a bunch of anime, and we're gonna do all that, and we're gonna take pride in the fact that we're watching a bunch of anime, which isn't a bad thing on its own, but you've got this paradigm where, okay, go to Crunchyroll and watch anime. All right, now I'm at Crunchyroll. What anime do I watch? And there's a whole bunch of anime, and it's not only is there a whole bunch of anime, but it's all different kinds, all different genres, and you have zero guidance.
Right, and plus,
Well, how would you like what would be the solution to point besides just stating the genres of each show?
Number one, Crunchyroll needs. Number one is that not just, and I shit on Crunchyroll a lot, not just Crunchyroll, but Funimation and a lot of other companies. They need to rely more on the fan base to determine the direction of the fan base. Like, they need trust in the fandom to drive the market in a positive direction. And the problem with that on a business level is that a positive direction for the fan base might not be the most positive direction for Crunchyroll, might not be the most positive direction for Funimation.
well, there's this schism out there between fans and not just marketing, but also people that have weaseled their way into and are making demands.
Well, here's the thing. The people who are weaseling their way into it and making demands are a result of this paradigm of marketing being, okay, anime's great. Let's watch a bunch of anime, but we're not gonna give you any guidance about that because that's not our job. Our job is just shovel anime onto people and market the stuff that's gonna make us money. And again, marketing the stuff that's gonna make them money isn't a bad thing. The bad thing is that they're trying to determine the direction of marketing, the direction of the market, the direction of the community, the direction of the subculture.
They're trying to put it where they want to go rather than letting it develop organically.
Bingo.
Right. Yeah.
Which that never works, and it's not just anime, by the way.
So
anything that tries to do that.
A good question coming out of the Discord. That makes me wonder, why didn't this happen with people who got into anime through TV like Toonami? It's a very good question. The reason that didn't happen is because it's a curated form of distribution. So Toonami only had a few shows on it. You got when it was back in the day, back when it was real big for me, it was your Gundam Wing, it was your Robotech, it was your Tenchi Muyo, it was your Zoids. It wasn't a whole bunch of anime that you had, like, a whole bunch of anime and zero guidance.
Right, but you also had a couple other ones that were kind of curious items, like Blue Submarine #6.
Yeah, and they showed that for a little, and
Big O.
And that's the whole thing, is that it's curated. It was highly curated.
Heavily so.
When they did that Giant Robot Week thing, and they showed Evangelion. That was my first taste of Evangelion. They showed Nadesco. It was my first taste of Nadesco, and both of those became my two favorite anime, my top two favorite anime. So it's a question of, okay,
I see what you mean. It's almost like, okay, you have all these choices, dig through it yourself.
Exactly.
Which there's nothing wrong with that if you have that personality that likes to do that.
There's nothing wrong with it if you have that personality and you're extremely open-minded. Because if you come in here, off of like Boruto, and all of a sudden
Eromanga Sensei.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. All of a sudden you said,
you're gonna be like,
click on Eromanga Sensei. You're gonna be like, wow, okay,
how did we get here from there?
Yeah, this is so far and away different from what I'm used to, and
Well,
it's a culture shock.
right.
And it's like I said on like 1 or 2 episodes ago. Can't really blame the people. You can't really blame the people who made the anime. Who's left
because
to blame?
It wasn't made for people in the U.S. to begin with.
I blame Japan.
Well, yeah.
Japan.
Here's the thing. That's who the people who don't know blame, because Japan's the people who made it, but they don't understand the market and they don't understand the subculture, and there's really no expectation for them to understand because they're not experienced. And the problem is a lot of the people who are experienced and a lot of the people who are not just experienced but run a lot of these services have no incentive to give people the correct answer. And we talked about this in the panels. Like one guy brought up a real good point. You'll see services like Netflix when they broadcast Violet Evergarden. And I'm not sure if this was in this region or a different region, but they would say Netflix original. Which is total bullshit. Which is a lie. Netflix didn't make that show. They probably put up a lot of money either for that show's license or in that show's production, but they didn't make the show.
No.
And the reason they have no incentive to tell people the truth because it's profitable to Netflix, and it's not going to do anything for Netflix to tell people, okay, this show was made by Kyoto Animation and such and such production.
Unless they got the law involved.
Well, all right, so and I doubt that would happen. But yeah, it was a good panel. We had plenty of audience participation.
Well, that's good. How was that? I mean, like, what kind of questions and what kind of like response did you get to your answers and that sort of stuff?
Well, so it was that one guy who asked about Netflix. We had one guy who was talking about Crunchyroll and their ad policy, and that went into an explanation of, okay, well, these companies serve ads and the ads are a priority because that's how they make their money and whatnot. There was one guy who, and props to this guy because he really had us go in depth about like what's the solution. And it's like a lot of what I'm talking about is, number one is people in the subculture need to guide people in the subculture. But at the same time is, again, a lot of companies doing stuff right, like Aniplex.
I think one of the real problems there is there are people that are trying to guide the subculture, but not in the direction they want to go.
Well, yeah, it's part of it is these companies, and part of it is people who got in off of the marketing coming off these companies and were culture shocked by that. And that was also a question, is like there are people who have complaints about some of the ways anime is, and part of the thing is we need to determine, number one, what, like, if those people are just coming in and making demands, or those people have an understand why things are the way they are, and have legitimate criticisms off of that, and that's difficult. I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning, but I also recorded the audio for this panel.
Oh, excellent. Are you going to upload it kind of in tandem with this episode?
Yes.
Excellent. I'll check that out. So, just to backtrack just a little bit, and then we'll continue on.
Yes.
Since we were talking about Netflix and their shenanigans, it kind of reminds me of in the late 90s, early 2000s, when there were a lot of people that were just sort of getting into this stuff, again, through Toonami and all that.
Right.
And they were under the impression things like Dragon Ball Z were made by Funimation. like people in Texas made it, kind of thing. And again, I blame that sort of on. I don't even know if I can blame that on marketing. That's almost just not paying attention.
Well, on some level, Funimation has no incentive to tell people, "Hey, we didn't make this."
But you know what I mean? You'd hear people say, "Hey, why don't you make more of this?" And it's just kind of like because they don't do that.
Well, again,
they're a middleman.
And not to hammer on this point further, but they don't know, and there's really no explanation for them. No incentive for Funimation to tell them.
Well, no.
So who's supposed to tell them?
Because from their perspective, it's like that brand is associated with us.
Exactly.
And by dissociating off like that, it does no favors to us. It can only hurt us.
Yep.
But wouldn't they see the Toei thing logo at the end?
You're assuming people like that pay more attention than they don't. Let's be real here. I mean, we're talking about a group of people that bitched when they had subs on as an April Fool's joke.
But yeah, so shout out to Shinden 9.
I wasn't there, but you seem like a cool guy. From what you've said, sometimes you post some stuff that's really amusing and humorous. So, sounds like we'd get along.
Yes, indeed. So, I hit up that panel and also hit up a panel called "Taste is Subjective" or "How I Learned to Anime Good." It's hosted by M. Paul Weeks.
Interesting. Interesting title.
Interesting title. Great panel. Outstanding panel. He talked about a lot of the stuff that I've been saying for years. How there are different ways to talk about anime, and they're all equally valid. How people need to stop shitting on people for their preferences in anime. Which I find alarming. That's something that's refreshing for me to
it's alarming that needs to be kind of spouted.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's one of those things that look both ways before you cross. It should be something that you don't need to tell somebody,
right?
Or at least not to tell them more than once.
Don't touch the hot stove.
Well, yeah, but people learn that usually when they decide to ignore the advice. Yeah.
He talked about how people need to learn to be able to articulate positivity, like understand how to talk about the shit you like rather than just shitting on shit the entire time,
posting trash memes or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And he talked about that too, the whole anime guilt thing. Which, it's alarming to me that it's refreshing to see someone else talk about
that's not doing that.
I hate watch things.
Yeah, I'll say this about that. Anytime I've ever done anything that would be considered that is not really hate watching. It's more like, hey, people that say a lot of questionable things really hate this show. I have to take a look at it because I'll probably like it. Just because of the fact that they hate it. Because the things they hate about it are things that either don't bother me or I actually prefer.
Yeah, so he actually posted up all the resources from that panel on his website, so that's going into the IRC right now.
Okay, cool. But would you say what I do is even considered hate watching? More so than just like, oh, these people hate this.
Well, no, hate watching is when you watch something you actually don't like.
You're going to hate, and you do it anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So basically, what large amounts of the anime opinion leaders do.
Yeah.
Through most of all seasons. Wow. I don't know. I got time. I got time I need to use for other shit. I'm not doing that. That's the kind of shit I'd have done when I was 15, maybe, or something like that. When the only thing I had to worry about was school. and getting a car. I don't know. I don't know how people have time to be this fucking petty and things like that. I don't get it. Do they just sit around all day if they're not at work, assuming they have a job? Do they just sit around all day watching stuff they hate and scowling about it on the internet and then going back to work?
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Find something to do with your time that isn't watching stuff you actively dislike.
Okay, this brings up a good point too. In the comments here, I've seen stuff that I know is bad out of morbid curiosity. Is that the same thing? No. Because that's like seeing an infamous B movie or something.
Hate watching is watching something you actively dislike.
That's almost like watching an accident. I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that would be if here's a perfect example. That would be me continuously playing the new Tekken game and doing that for a whole week. That would be me playing Tekken for a week.
Karen is not going to be happy about that.
Well, isn't that a perfect analogy? I actively dislike the Tekken franchise, so I'm going to play the next Tekken game for a week. That doesn't make sense.
Okay. But slight tangent. Who would you pick if you had to?
Of course, Eddie Gordo.
Really?
Actually, no. Was it? I think it was Tekken 3 for the PlayStation. I used to play Gon.
Okay.
The little fucking dinosaur dude.
Yep. Was that the one with the boxing gloves?
No, that's that's either the kangaroo or the raptor character.
I know so little about Tekken. I know that there's the raptor guy. I know that there's the kangaroo.
There's Yoshimitsu and
there's an angel called Angel, and there's a devil character named Devil.
Yeah, and there's also there's a girl named Nina. There's there's a guy who looks like fucking he got hit by lightning or something.
And there's an idol. And there's an Idolmaster character that wears a Tekken shirt, but that's because Namco owns both.
Yeah.
That's why.
See, I can forgive that because they did the Idolmaster Ace Combat crossover.
Oh, and as the example was Garze's Wing. I think most people have watched that out of morbid curiosity at some point. If they're a fan of Tamino, anyway.
The morbid curiosity is cool in the gang. Seeing people whose tastes you are regularly diametrically opposed to, and watching what they dislike, that's cool in the gang. I'm saying me playing Tekken for a week straight, that being the only game I'm playing for a week straight, that would be the equivalent to hate watching.
I just don't get somebody who watches something and their first impression, first 2 episodes is they hate it and they watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's such a thing as dropping it.
Those are people who resonate, so they could use the information in this panel, quite frankly, but those are people who resonate so deeply with negativity that that becomes a decision that makes sense for them.
Well, I think they get some sort of a dopamine rush out of it.
Yeah, because they resonate with negativity.
Like they actively.
I get to shit on this thing on Twitter.
Yeah, their brain secretes fucking feel good chemicals when they do it. Which is weird and kind of a disturbing thing.
I don't even think is that their brain secretes feel good chemicals when they're watching something they hate. It secretes feel good chemicals when they tweet about it on Twitter, because they're still watching it despite the fact that they have nothing good to say about it.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because I actually heard somebody say they do it for that reason. But it wasn't anime. It was like crappy movies. I
would be highly dubious about the self-assessment of anyone who does that. Highly dubious.
Well, let's be real here. This guy is an idiot. I mean, if you read his other stuff, you can look at. Put it this way: one of his tags for these type of movies was crystal meth required to enjoy.
Right. Continuing from the IRC, what if you watch more episodes to see if it gets better? That's perfectly fine. again.
Well, yeah, but because that's curiosity. That's not.
Yeah, that's not. I'm gonna watch this thing I actively
No,
hate.
hate watching is specifically. It's more like I hate the group that this thing's associated. Exactly. So I'm watching it.
A perfect example is somebody who.
That group. Yeah.
A perfect example would be somebody watching Strike Witches, even though from the preview they were mortified by it.
Exactly.
And watching it all the way just so they can talk shit about it.
Yes. Or
it makes no sense. Well, yeah.
It's another.
Although I think in the case of that one, that largely was more just culture shock. Because the way that was like, wasn't that just on the front page of I can't fucking talk.
Front page of Crunchyroll?
Crunchyroll. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's part of it. There's also an element of it was big in the discourse around that time.
Mm-hmm.
So people jumped on it to say, "Oh, hey, this thing's popular. I got to get with the popular thing." There's that.
You would think that they would at least read a synopsis.
Yeah, you'd think so, but nah.
You know, because that would tell you a lot of what's going to occur, or at least would, if nothing else, either draw you in or push you out.
Yeah, but it's like there's elements of it being big in the culture, but again, that's not hate watching.
No.
Like when I went back to Nisekoi for one episode because VZ told me about the character who turned out to be a bitch. That was not hate watching.
And my assessment is you should have watched a few more.
It was one form of hate watching. You hated watching it.
Okay, well, I got one for me. Well, not necessarily, but like really, really trying to get through Gundam Wing, and it's like I just couldn't.
Well, yeah, you wanted to give it a shot, and it turned out to not be your fancy, so you stopped watching it.
I tried. Meanwhile, I'm loving Victory Gundam. It's amazing. It's like the flip of.
Well, again, that one shouldn't really be compared, if just for the fact that that's part of a continuous timeline.
Right.
Even if it is sort of far flung into the future, it's still technically part of the this stuff is all still canon and happened in the past sort of thing. Whereas Wing is its own thing. Anyway,
but
continuing.
So we hit up that panel. Again, great panel. Really enjoyed it. And after that, we basically went back to the hotel room and hung out until we went to bed and got up Saturday. I did Gavin and I were together most of Saturday, did a lot of walking around, hit up the dealer room a bit. But
yeah, this is okay. I wanted to hear what you got, but
I didn't get anything Saturday because we had a main event that we were going to. Actually, what we did was hit up the Metal Gear Solid photo shoot, which I hit up almost every year because I'm friends with a lot of those people, and that's a really good gang of people. But the main event, and some people are going to call me a hypocrite for this, but I don't want to fucking hear it. They were showing the East Coast premiere, I believe it was, of Code Geass Lelouch of the Resurrection.
Oh.
Dude. Okay. This fucking movie. Like Code Geass is back. like
well, hopefully it looks better than Akira the Exile.
Yeah.
Because I did not like the way they incorporated so much fucking CG. It's just too much of it.
Oh, the CG didn't bother me particularly because like the mecha combat has always been the weakest point of Code Geass for me.
Well, that's true, but it wasn't even just the mecha. There was just a lot of it in period in Akira the Exile.
Yeah, they didn't really do a whole lot.
I think there was more of it than there was regular. So that's how
Jesus.
Seemed like it.
Yeah, they didn't really do a whole lot of that kind of CG in the new movie. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you're a Code Geass person, go see this movie.
Yeah,
And
that's another.
and this is coming from someone who continues to not buy Funimation releases.
Yeah.
See this movie. So like they brought out Johnny Young Bosch and Yuri
It's weird you
Lowenthal.
said this because I'm actually on my Twitter account right now, and
Yeah.
I just saw a Funimation promo thing 9 minutes ago. Voices of Evolution, Colin from the Code Geass series want you to go see Code Geass Evolution of the Resurrection
Yeah.
in theaters
Listen.
this May 5th and May 7th to 8th.
Th-
I don't know if is it playing around here?
It's a good question. Check your local listings. But they brought out Johnny Young Bosch and Yuri Lowenthal, had a quick like mini panel discussion with them beforehand about how it was, like how the whole thing was with, we're getting called back for Code Geass after how many years, and how it was to go through that, and how it was to work with the people again. So, and apparently this first movie is part of a, I think they said it was a 10-year plan, but I don't quote me on that. But like Code Geass is really back. Like there's going to be more Code Geass in addition to this movie.
Excellent. Okay, that's good to hear. Any new characters or?
A few new characters, nothing like nobody that really sticks around. So like it's set up kind of like it's in part a continuation, but in another part it's kind of like a shonen fighting anime movie.
Okay.
Where it's a one-off villain in a one-off place, and they have a one-off conflict.
So similar to like DBZ movies, most of them.
Yes, similar to DBZ movies and One Piece movies and whatnot. But there's actually a lot of significance to the ongoing plot and what I assume is going to be the ongoing conflict in whatever continuation goes on from here.
So basically, you're saying that even though it kind of does stand on its own, it also affects the main timeline.
It's not even that it stands on its own. Like, if you haven't watched all of Code Geass, don't watch this movie.
Well, right, but what I mean is it doesn't feel like an extended episode.
Well, that's the thing. It feels like, because you know how Code Geass, like every battle will be a couple episodes.
I just got to go on record here and point out it actually is playing nearby.
Hey, I'm not saying to go see it, but I'm saying to go see it.
Well, I can go see it subbed, so I might go ahead and sadly give money to Funimation.
I might hit it up. I'm saying, and the reason I'm recommending people give money to Funimation for this is because they did a good job on it. Because I've seen the product, and they did a good job on the product.
Don't punish Code Geass for their shenanigans.
It's not even don't punish Code Geass for their shenanigans. Like, they delivered a good product. The reason I don't buy Funimation products is because I can't trust that they put out a good product.
Yeah.
Now I've seen the product. I didn't have to pay to see the product, and they put out a good product. So I'm saying, hey, they did a good job on the Evolution of the Resurrection, at least as far as the dub goes.
You have to see if the actual release is the same.
Yeah, I don't expect that they're going to change anything for the release.
No.
Especially with the response that the audience had in that theater. Dude, everyone was pumped. There's not a single not pumped person in that audience.
Okay, after foreshadowing, after the show's over, we'll have to chat about this a little more.
Oh, we will have to chat about this because this is
pretty
monumental.
Okay. Anyway,
naturally, and this is because I didn't know they were showing this until I was walking around in
and
the
saw
Zero.
it.
Well, no, I was walking around in the Zero outfit on Friday, and no less than 2 people said, "Hey, you going to the premiere tomorrow?" And
were you just like, what the fuck are they talking about?
no, I said yes because I didn't want to look like an idiot walking around in the
And
Zero costume, not knowing that they're playing the movie the characters from in the thing.
Even though your internal monologue was, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
How did I not know that?
But yeah, so and as soon as we left that theater, no less than 5 people stopped me for photographs talking about the movie. Everyone was pumped. There was not a single not pumped person walking out of that auditorium. It was great.
Okay, this isn't really a spoiler, so I guess it's okay to ask. Do we have any quality hometown shots of C2?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Sweet. I had to ask. You know I had to ask. Come on.
Yeah. And it's not a spoiler because, of course, the answer is yes.
Well, the reason I asked is because sometimes movie versions of things tone that kind of stuff down.
No.
Like Strike Witches, the movie toned down some of that.
No, this is a return to form.
Okay.
In a lot of ways, it's a return to form, and in a lot of things, they're moving on to something, to a different conflict.
Okay. Well, that sounds like it. If nothing else, it sounds like a good way to kill an afternoon about a week from now. Well, more than a week, probably, but.
So we hit that up. Gavin and I and our other 2 friends went out to eat again with the Metal Gear Solid group.
Did you get anything local like cuisine or?
No, I got what's called
stuff?
a Sunny Burger, and I had to do that because it was the Metal Gear Solid group, and it's a burger with a fried egg on it. Delicious, absolutely delicious.
Okay.
So I had that, and then back to the hotel room to prepare for my other panel, the inappropriate panel.
These are always great.
So, prepared for that, and
were you still wearing the Zero costume?
No, I was not wearing the Zero costume.
Okay. I just thought that might have been funny.
Stepped up in the panel room for Beginner's Guide to Effed Up Hentai.
Did you do the thing where you like peek in to see the capacity crowd? Or?
Well, no, we arrived to set everything up before we started letting people in.
Okay.
They gave us a slightly smaller room, which we filled completely. 89 people left.
Are you serious?
This is not a joke. 89.
Son of a bitch.
89 people left.
How many were in total?
I don't recall.
If you can estimate.
It was easily a few
better
hundred.
question is, how did you know that many people left?
Because the guys, like the tech guys, counted for us.
Oh, were they having just fun with that? Or
Yeah.
Just like, okay, we're gonna do a tally here.
Yeah. Well, we got one of the tech guys was the same tech guy we got last year, and he was the guy who counted the 150 people who left last year.
So let me tell you an anime there's an anime called Pigeon Blood.
Oh, we had Pigeon Blood.
I know.
Guarantee you had Pigeon Blood.
Yeah.
So I actually went for this year. I actually went back and re-recorded a lot of the clips, so they're all in the same resolution, all the same. Like we don't have. You're not gonna get 720p and then the next clip is
480 or something.
480 or 240 or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You basically standardized everything.
I standardized everything. I recorded a new. So I've told you guys about the electric slide, right?
Yeah, you have mentioned that before.
Yeah,
a couple times I think.
So for newcomers, the electric slide is basically the opening animation to Beginner's Guide to Effed Up Hentai, and it's the electric slide song, composed with the electrocution scene from Euphoria.
Oh, gee, that's bad.
So I tell everyone I've made before this year I tell everyone I've made 2 AMVs in my life and both of them are inappropriate. Now I've made 3 AMVs in my life and all 3 of them are inappropriate because I remastered the electric slide. And
Well,
added scenes from Princess 69 in there. There's actually a little bit. Listen, I'm very talented because I managed to get a little bit of like anime lip syncing into the song.
Oh no!
This is difficult to describe without showing the video, which I'm not gonna do.
For reasons.
But I actually managed to get that effect.
Oh, I was gonna say, didn't when you originally do it, wasn't it from that scene in Cool Devices?
No.
With the like where they're electrocuting her and dunking her in water and shit.
No, that does give me an idea for next year though.
I think it was called like Heat or something like that.
So I know which scene you're talking about, but
it's really fucking bad. Like I remember, like, who's getting off to that? Anyway.
But yeah, once again, people enjoyed it. We actually got concerned because there was this one girl in the front row, and had to be, like, I don't want to say dragged, but brought there by her boyfriend, and she was not having a good time. Like something like 2/3 of the time, she was covering her eyes, and it's like,
come on,
like,
dude.
I don't even want to be like, come on, dude, because it's like, I don't know if they knew what exactly they were, because again, this is the panel where we count how many people leave in disgust. So quite clearly, there's a lot of people who don't know what they're getting into, and they think it's going to be, oh, okay, this tentacle anti, and like the blue girl, a little bit of that, and maybe some Bible Black with some Fuda, and then we jump in here with like a bunch of poop in the shotgun scene, and they're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. So yeah, I can't even say come on, guy, because like I don't want if you're having a bad time at the panel, like, please leave, get out of here, because it's not going to get any better. Like, it's not going to get less disgusting. It's like, please don't subject yourself to this disgusting anime just because you're sitting in the panel. Just please,
maybe it's
run for cover.
But maybe it's also like hate watching, but it's like you want to see how far.
Don't hate watch my panel. I don't endorse hate watching of the Beginner's Guide to Bad Time. Put that out there right now.
Have a barf bag you just kind of pass around.
But yeah, we were concerned. And Gavin was like motioning to the dude and was like, "Hey, dude, the girl next, is she gonna be okay?" But yeah, no, the two of them did peace out, and she was fine. Probably not traumatized.
Anubis is like, I need to try harder.
But no, everyone had a great time. Q&A was great as always.
How many of those Q&A questions are asking what certain things are from?
Well, no, because this time, once again, when I remastered all the clips and again, of course, added new ones, there's also the PowerPoint presentation which shows the titles of all these things before the clip. But like, you get a little lower third comes in, says the name of the anime, the episode it's from, and the year.
Oh, yeah.
And
wow,
for some of them, it'll show like the Japanese title and the English title. So it's like Kuro Ai, Dark Love.
Right.
What's the oldest anime you've shown at a panel? Like
at this panel, that's a good question.
Because you could get a lot of mileage out of some 80s hentai, believe it or not.
I know this year the oldest we showed, I believe, was from 1990, and that was Tales of Misbehavior.
All right, listen. I can recommend some old stuff that would go great for your panel.
Yeah. I think the oldest was 1990.
No Erotsukidoji?
We didn't do Erotsukidoji this year, primarily because I can't find where I put it.
I was gonna say it certainly isn't because it wouldn't fit.
Yeah, no.
because like even by today's standards, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
in some
no,
ways.
the-
Oh, I got some other. Listen, I got some other ones I could recommend for you, besides that. To put in there.
Needless to say, do I need to drag out the Nazi death rate machine?
All right.
And it's exactly what it says on the tin.
All right. 1987 OVA. Well, by proxy, it's OVA because it's a Battle Can. Girl gets raped by alien with a penis head,
Hey.
and she's pretty much teared in two. There you go.
might have to
So
look
is
up.
that like Movie Bob or something?
Ah,
Well,
But
he's
yeah.
a dickhead.
But yeah, so it was actually, so there were, this is funny because realistically, considering the electric slide, I probably should have started doing this a long time ago, and I'm very lucky I didn't, like, nothing bad happened, but I did give a photosensitive seizure warning because the electrocution scene from Euphoria is basically all just flashing lights. Like,
It goes
flashing
full
blue
Pokemon.
lights. So like this is the one non-joke of the panel. I have to give a photosensitive seizure warning before this one video. After this, it's all jokes. This is not a joke.
Well, yeah. It's like you gotta do that just in case like Kurt Eichenwald is there.
Well, it's like it's like, here's the thing. I've had someone almost throw up in the panel, and I know that because they told me. I don't want to have someone have a seizure in the panel because there's nothing like I can derive pride from having someone throw up in the panel. There's no pride I can derive from having someone have a seizure in the panel. That's just bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, not for nothing, I feel like they can like sue you for that.
I don't think they. I don't think they can sue me for that.
No. Because
But
they went into the panel of their.
Well, yeah, but it's a good thing to warn people about, and it's something I should have been starting warning people about a long time ago. But it was that, and the second thing I said in the beginning of the panel. So I mentioned that they gave us a little like plastic bag full of candy for being panelists, which is great because that was some reasonable unhealthy sustenance for downtime during that convention. But there's like Hershey's Kisses, little chocolate bars, little things. So I just nonchalantly
You've done that before.
started taking all the little pieces of chocolate out. Got my bag, took out 2 bottles of lemonade. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be, just so everyone knows, I'm gonna be eating chocolate and drinking lemonade all this entire panel, and don't you dare read any more into that than necessary.
Great.
So you might see me certain times, certain clips, just start munching on some chocolate, very nonchalantly, but very conspicuously. And I guess the piece de resistance is I actually did get the whole panel on video this time.
Nice.
I don't know where I'm going to upload it, but I did get
Yeah.
the whole panel on video.
Hello, Pornhub.
Yeah, the suggestion was Pornhub. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, you can't do YouTube for that.
Yeah, YouTube's
No.
not going to enjoy anything that's going on in the panel, I guarantee you.
Yeah. I guess you could just send it to us. I mean, we're not gonna complain.
But yeah, people had a good time. There's definitely some improvements I need to make, but overall, people really enjoyed the panel.
Mm-hmm. Any funny comments that were yelled out or anything like that could be amusing? The way I do the panel is similar to how I do this podcast, in that I don't actually remember anything that was said. Okay.
Like apart from the one girl who was clearly traumatized, and apart from like going up to the dudes and saying, okay, 89 people left and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like, of course, and every year this happens. The people in the front are troopers, and like the people who manage to get in the front are always the most pumped people, because those are the people who those are invariably, because these rooms fill up. Those people are invariably the first people who had been in line.
And
so they
also
lined up
probably
like an hour beforehand or some shit to get into this panel. I don't know why, because we're showing Dark Love and Princess 69, but so
well,
yeah.
The draw of morbid curiosity is quite strong
Hey,
sometimes.
I guess I chose a good title.
It's like, what is this?
Here's a thing that I've started noticing about Anime Boston in particular. There's people out here biting my style, dog. Like, you've got What the Hentai. What the Hentai? Come and join us and watch some unexplainable and flat out weird hentai clips. We have selected a large variety out of the box and unexpected clips for your enjoyment. Everyone that attends will have the chance to compete in our live game show and possibly win hentai a king or queen.
Okay.
So yeah, we got that. That would literally kill her. Our panel does a deep dive of the good, the bad, and the ugly side of hentai to show the extremes and downright laughable impossibilities hentai characters are pushed to. Handpicked by our panel, we've scoured through hundreds of hentais to pose the question: will these characters make it out alive?
If you're talking about the shotgun scene,
Yeah,
spoiler alert, no.
Yeah, she does not.
No. Hate to tell you, a shotgun in the hooch usually will do the job, I'm sure.
So yeah, people out, and this has been going on for years, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
People out here biting the after panda pet,
riding your coattails.
Yeah, yes. Which, number one, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and number two, it's good that they're doing that because the after hentai panel fills up. So pick an after hentai panel and go to that one. I'm not going to say they're all the same, but I will take credit for introducing the concept.
Well, there you have it. So basically, after that, did you go eat a burger or something?
We went to fucking bed because we had to pack and be out by noon Sunday.
Okay.
So we packed up all our shit, got up out of the hotel room, put our stuff down in the place you put your stuff down, and went to, and for me mostly it was the last dealer room run, which I did manage to get some choice stuff.
Did you do the thing where you basically get deals, or
no? I didn't really go for any deals. I just mostly just went for like stuff that I wanted to spend my money on.
Okie doke.
So I got 3 anime. I got Popotan on DVD.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, an anime I've been meaning to finish for a while.
Oh, you're gonna love that.
I got Two Heart 2 on Blu-ray.
Interesting.
And I got the entirety, though the continuation has been announced recently, of My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu. So that's both the first and second season on.
I'll be blunt, I hate that title. Just because it does not really sound like an actual title.
Never was a fan of the title, but outstanding anime.
Again, not saying anything about the show. It's one of those like things like Kitty Grade where I can't stand the title, and I think it's probably, I don't know about that, but it was unrepresentative of the show.
Yeah, I was expecting something completely different out of Kitty Grade. I'll say that.
Yeah, I expected it to honestly be in the vein of something like Precure or something like that.
Right.
With a name like that.
So the next few things I'm actually going to turn my camera on for, because I specifically want to see your guys' reactions to what I managed to score here.
Okay, hang on.
So give me a moment. Let's turn that
We have
on.
excitement. We have excitement in the chat because of Popotan.
Popotan. Yeah, I've been neglecting to actually sit down and finish Popotan.
Please do a write-up about that.
I will.
If it inspires anything for you to write, of course. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because more people need to, because anyone that's ever seen that really just does not like that show and always because
it's taken a really long time for this to load.
Yeah, for some reason.
Okay.
There you go.
Hey, here I am. Okay.
Anubis is here.
All right, let's see what you got.
So
Let's see.
I've already framed one of them.
I can't see it. Fuck. It's
Oh,
so much glare. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
This is an original animation cell from Burn Up
Burn
W.
Up Warrior. Yeah. Very nice. Where'd you get that from?
Asylum Anime.
Oh yeah, I love them.
Oh, I've heard of that.
I get books from them a lot.
So you got that one. There's this one as well.
Oh wow, I remember that scene.
I've never actually seen Burn Up. Well, I've only seen the original Burn Up, but I know.
She's trying to sell her junk to somebody for money to pay off a debt collector.
Yeah, exactly. And this is one from the opening
scene. Yep. Wow, very cool.
I know I know about the infamous bungee jump scene though.
Yes, that's hilarious. And then she kind of swings in and basically shoots them.
No, and then she goes, "And I'll never get married."
Yeah, that's from the dub. Wasn't that Wendy Lee who did that? Who was doing that voice?
That's a good question. So, and now what I'm gonna do now is try and bring my video up onto the stream so our listeners can see this crazy shit. Here we go. So this is the first one. I've already framed it. Again, these are original animation cells from Burn Up W.
Which I'll go on record and say I'm actually a fan.
I'm a big fan of Burn Up W.
I was really upset they only did 4 episodes of it.
Yeah, well, what I need to do is finish. What came after W? Was it Excess? Yeah, I need to finish Excess.
I couldn't get into that one as much. I just couldn't do it. Something about the art style did not click with me as much.
It's also the original Burn Up.
Yep, that was the first one I watched.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are they have a ton of cells at that booth.
Yeah, I'll just go out on record and say that is a very, very good booth.
Yeah.
Asylum Anime, for art books and all that shit.
Art books, cells,
all kinds of goodies.
Ass out of print figures and merchandise.
Yeah, because what they do is they go to Japan and basically just run wild and bring all that stuff over here.
Yeah, and
and they have for a long time.
They have it was just one thing that was just interesting was just going through the cells and seeing the price differentiations and trying to infer how these prices are determined. Because if you're looking for an iconic scene from Ava, prepare to spend $2,000 on a cell.
Yeah, that's okay. I was wrong. I'm derping here. That was Amanda Winley who did that. Yeah, I don't know why I thought Wendy Lee.
But yeah, so
sorry, that was bothering me. I had to look it up.
The Popotan, the Two Heart 2, and the Snafu Anna, those were easy purchases for me. Those easy decisions to make. But I was almost to the the limit on time I had. I was sitting at Asylum Anime, just going through all these cells, trying to find, okay, I want something that looks nice. I want something that's from an anime I know, from an anime I like, and something that's affordable. So I don't necessarily have like $300 to spend on a Macross G member love cell.
Mm-hmm. As awesome as that would be.
As awesome as much as I would love to get one of those cells, it's a little bit out of my price range. But Burn Up W, I'm on board.
Yeah, if I'd have seen it, I'd have got it.
Yeah.
No question. I've always been a big fan. Plus, you can't deny that opening theme song.
Yeah.
Flash Your Dream. Doot, doot, doot. It's weird for those who haven't seen it. It's weird in the sense that the first 2 episodes are a lot more lighthearted.
Yeah.
And then the second 2 get really fucking grim.
That's exactly what I heard when I watched Bennett the State's video about that.
It's true. The first 2 are almost comedic, whereas the last 2 get gory and fucked up.
Yeah, they start getting serious.
Isn't something like the first 2 are like just a simulation or something?
No.
No.
Maybe
I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, it's not that for sure. No, it's just more comedic. It comes across as a lot more humor in that. Whereas the last 2, that humor goes right out the window.
Yeah.
Right.
And it gets really just grisly and kind of downright ugly. Worth watching, though.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I got those, and relatively small haul this year compared to last year when I got like $400 worth of anime. But I'm definitely happy about stuff like these animation cells, and the anime I picked up the stuff I want to watch or rewatch. Definitely on board.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we left.
Okay.
It's kind of actually like mentally, the con actually went by really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my photo game was super weak this con. I don't know what was going on.
Oh, so no figures or kits.
I generally don't buy figures at Anime Boston. Number one, because I already sell anime figures. If I want anime figures, I can get. Trust when I say I can get some anime figures. And number two, because that would be something large and cumbersome to pack because I take the train there.
All right, yeah, I get you. But yeah, I've always been fascinated by animation cells. Even though I know the industry's changed, but this is something fascinating about like the whole like this was a thing someone had to paint and then take a picture of.
Yeah, it's owning a piece of an anime production.
Right. Yeah. It's
it's a piece of celluloid that tells a story. That's what I like about it.
It's funny because I remember around the time, I remember I learned in a very odd way, like how the switch from traditional cell and paint to digital. And I was trying around, I was looking around sites that had pictures of anime cells, and I was trying to look for Azumanga Daioh. This tells you how long ago this was. And it's like, I can't see any Azumanga. And then I was eventually figured out, because it's not,
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, interesting. I'm actually on their website right now, which I got to tell you, they used to have a really bad website. As far as I remember it looked like a GeoCities page. Some people are like, what the fuck's GeoCities?
Exactly.
Angel Fire. Anything that was a really bad DBZ had gifs of Vegeta powering up in the background. And that's pretty much all they had.
Yeah. Oh wow, I see.
With a bad MIDI in the background. I see a really great Asuka one. It's oversized.
Okay.
It's $500.
Yep.
Wait. Look onto the right. Tell me that's not something any of us, especially me, would love. Does anyone have $1,500?
I don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, the
All right.
5-star stories thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, $1,500. Yeah, I see that. And
Oh,
then
Jesus Christ, yeah.
you have like $1,000 one
Wow.
Mice and Ikiko, and a $1,500 one for Ranma half.
Yeah.
Let's see. You've got some stuff from Ixer,
Yep, they
Oh,
had some
yeah,
stuff
El
from Mixer there.
Hazard, Project Aiko.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Okay, now it's gonna bother me because geez, they got Bubblegum Crisis ones.
Yep. Yeah, I took a look through that one.
It's hard to justify some of these prices, but
No,
Yeah,
but
that's why I went with the ones I got from Burn Up W.
hopefully they weren't too expensive. The ones you got.
No, they weren't expensive.
I don't think you would have got them if they were.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, they got by series. Yeah, do some by series.
So I'll check it out. Oh, yeah. If I see that, I might have while I'm there, and I'm sure they're going to be there. They got some ones from Bastard,
Ooh.
Yeah.
and I've always been a fan of that franchise.
All right.
So we'll check all that.
I see Transformers. That's they got from my favorite episode ever of Generation. Wow, it's a part of it, but okay, it's $100.
Of course.
Of course it is. Any case, so it sounds like you had a pretty good time, even though if it wasn't quite as good or loot friendly as always. Sounds like you had a lot of fun socially and all that.
Yeah.
Which people forget that's kind of part of the fun.
It's a big part of the appeal of conventions.
Well, sure it is, because otherwise you can just buy shit online.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you don't, oh wow, I'm looking at stuff. If I see some of this stuff, it's gonna be really hard to resist. I'm not gonna lie. I'm seeing stuff from shows that I did not expect them to have, and I'll just go out on a limb and say that's really tasty.
Yeah, they had Dirty Pair there.
Yeah, of course they did.
They had some Nadesco.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Macross 2, Macross Plus, Macross 7.
Oh, your favorite in K-Gods, Plastic Little.
Hey.
We'll see.
Unfortunately, none of what we would go bonkers for the particular scenes.
Doesn't matter.
They probably already sold those.
Yeah.
I would assume. In any case, yeah, it sounds like you had quite a bit of fun.
Anyone want a $3,000 Lin Min May sell from Do You Remember Love? Because they got that.
Gunbuster.
Yeah,
Yep.
Those are all in like the $500 range. So, well, again, we're not going to just sit here and look over all this shit. We'll be here all fucking night.
Yeah, no. That's Asylum Anime, asylum-anime.com. Shout out to them.
Yes, they're very cool. I'm not going to say I want this one, because between now and then somebody will fucking gank it. And I can easily afford it. So I'm not gonna say what it is, because I can totally see somebody totally doing it just to piss me off.
Yeah, exactly. Play that one close to the vest.
Put it in private chat or something.
Yeah, I might do that. So
looking forward to next year. The Panda could not join us this year, which was disappointing, but he will be able to join us next year. So,
I mean, things happen.
Yeah.
All right. So, is that it? We gonna roll it up?
That is about it. We can roll this up. We do have a short third segment, because this is just interesting to look at. But yes, Anime Ball, great con, always a good time. Good dealer room, good events. Because you got the effed up hentai, filled the room once again. Shout out to Shinda9. Shout out to Asylum Anime. Shout out to Otaku Joe's, which is where I got some of this anime here. And looking forward to 2020.
And as far as cons go, I'll be at A-Con at the end of June into early July. I hope I'm not inside of him. There's a lot of things that are wrong with that.
There are certain, certainly better rappers to be inside of. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Hopefully female ones if you're going that route.
Well, I mean, what I'm trying to say is I don't like Akon's music very much, so I'll just dispense with the pleasantries. I'm not a fan of Akon. I'm not a fan of Akon, the rapper, not the convention.
Yeah, never been to the convention, I'm assuming.
Yes, indeed. That will be the break. We're going to roll into this third segment. Keep it right here on NTR Radio. Welcome back to NTR Radio.
Dun, 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 dun.
So
I'm going to stop doing that, I promise.
So we have a short third segment because some very interesting data was provided to us. And this is a good chance to kind of a primer on how to interpret data. So in case any of our listeners encounter someone who's monumentally wrong about anime, they'll learn how to interpret data, and more so how to understand the ways data is collected and the ways in which that can make certain things look particularly look weird in an interesting way that might not be completely accurate to a useful way in which that data is provided. So this is going in the IRC right now. Well, I will give you two the link as well.
Okay.
So this is the Google trending data for the term anime from January 1st, 2004 up until now.
Okay, just a sec. I got to get it to load for a minute. Okay, it shows the interest over time.
And that's pretty basic.
By region and all that shit.
Yep. So interest over time is pretty basic. You're talking a number between 0 and 100 depending on the percentage of the maximum interest, the maximum amount of interest that we're talking about over a certain period of time. So
which I want to point something out about that, if you don't mind.
Okay.
And that maximum is August 2015
July
2016. So those are where it peaked according to this chart.
Well, the point maximum is July 2016.
Okay.
So July 2015 and August 2015 are at 99, but the 100, because there's always going to be a 100, and that's when popularity was at its maximum.
Right. So it looks roughly around between July 2015 and July 2016 is where it had the most action in terms of numbers, like that stretch.
Yes.
There's a couple of peaks before that where it kind of surged a bit, but in terms of steady, that's probably your biggest.
Right. What I want to focus on is interest by region.
Yeah, this is really interesting, right?
It's very interesting, and there's a good reason why it's this interesting. But let's go over the data as it's shown. So Japan is 100, naturally.
Unsurprised.
And once again, this is measured from a 100 to 0 scale, with 100 being the maximum percentage of interest. Or 100 being the maximum quantity of interest, and the rest being a percentage of that quantity.
Mm-hmm.
So the Philippines are down at 56%. Saudi Arabia is at 38.
38.
El Salvador 36. Indonesia 30. Peru, Bolivia, Algeria, Costa Rica, Malaysia, and it goes on. Chile, Iraq, Thailand, Panama, Mexico.
The interesting thing is the U.S. is like 40 on this chart.
Yep.
It is way the fuck down there.
16, Singapore, Puerto Rico, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, the DR.
Yeah. I mean, Malaysia and Iraq are higher. That should tell you everything you need to know. Okay.
India does not like anime. It's only 3.
Well, hang on, VZ, because I didn't tell you how this data was collected. So
that's a good point, because I have no idea how.
If you go up to the little question mark up by interest by region.
Okay.
So it tells you what I just told you. It's valued on a scale from 0 to 100, where 100 is the location of most popularity as a fraction of the total searches in that location. But there's a note here. A higher value means a higher proportion of all queries, not a higher absolute query count. Now that's important because it's so if a country has like 5 Google searches total and one of them is anime, then that by itself is 20%. And
Gotcha.
so it's not talking about the total percentage, like the total number of Google searches for anime from these particular countries. They're talking about Google searches for anime in proportion to Google searches for everything else.
Right. Which still means these are pretty high, some of these.
Not necessarily. Because are there a lot of Google searches in general coming out of Saudi Arabia?
I get that, but like as far as we know, places like the Philippines are still pretty active online, right?
Well, like some of these places do make sense. The Philippines, Philippines makes sense.
But hey, did you know you can actually click on this specific one?
Oh yeah, and it'll break it down further by region.
Right. Which is interesting. I get what would really be good, and we don't have the time resources to do it right now. Maybe for another episode or something like that, or special. But would be really interesting, in my opinion, would be to cross-reference when these places had the biggest traffic for this stuff, and like I said, cross-reference that with big happenings, like big movie releases and things like that.
Yeah,
that would be very interesting.
I'm looking at United States, and I'm looking at by state. By the way.
Okay, that could be interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing, but to put a bow on that little question mark there, that's why it's important to understand how data is collected and how that plays into how it's presented, because this shows a very interesting look at worldwide popularity of anime. And what it really isn't showing is worldwide popularity of anime. What it's showing is worldwide popularity of anime in terms of Google searches in proportion to literally everything else that's searched on Google in that country.
Right. But just some little bit of fun here. If you click on the US version of this, you can see that the peaks are between July 2014 and hang on here. Come on. And July 2015. So that year is where you saw the two biggest peaks.
Right. With July 2014 being a 100 and July 2015 being a 99.
Right. And again, like there is another one that's really high and close, which is December 2015. There's another really high peak right there. That's a little, not quite. Yeah. It's like 90 or something like that. 96, sorry. But and then you can look at the subregions.
The state breakdown is pretty interesting. Alaska, well, Hawaii. That's not surprising.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. Hawaii isn't, in high. Yeah.
Alaska's an interesting number 2.
Well, you need something to watch when you're in the stuck in.
When you're not doing a meth lab.
Arkansas is also interesting in number 5.
Nevada's up there.
Idaho at number 7.
Yeah, I'm surprised New York isn't higher. I was really like, that was quite far down.
A lot of the and I don't know why this seems to be, but when you the further down this list you go, is you start seeing the East Coast.
What's interesting about that is these are probably compiled the same way that other stuff is.
Yeah.
So it's not a surprise that some of these other things are higher.
But at the same time, we know the United States is all up on Google. So this data is actually going to be quite a bit more accurate and quite a bit more useful to us than the previous data with like Saudi Arabia at number 3.
Just to point this out, my state and your state are low.
Yeah. Like Massachusetts, the anime Boston state, is at 49.
Is 49. Obviously 51 is DC.
Yeah.
That's yeah. I like the fact that Rhode Island is higher than most people. Seemingly a lot.
That's pretty interesting.
Why Rhode Island?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's kind of weird. Again, I'm not surprised some of these ones at the top are where they are.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
even Texas, because that's where like a lot of the dubbing.
Right. That doesn't surprise me. But what does surprise me is like Oklahoma. Is like number 7 on mine. Or New Mexico is number 6. I mean,
But yeah,
I don't
so
know. But
I also I like
look-
the related topics and related queries as well.
yeah, I was
You can
actually
look-
going to mention that.
Look, I can look by each part of.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
you can.
Yeah, it does break down further.
Even further,
That's
like you
correct.
can look at Vegas or wherever. I'll look at that when we're done.
Yeah, we can probably get at least a micro topic off of this kind of shit
Wow,
alone.
that's amazing. It just goes
On and on. It's like then starts going by county
Yep.
or
So yeah, related topics. These are no surprise. Crunchyroll Company, Attack on Titan manga series, Naruto Shippuden, Sword Art Online, of course, Seven Deadly
Fairy
Sins.
Tail,
That's
manga.
certainly popular.
Tokyo Ghoul, harem topic. What else do we got here?
Futanari comic genre at number 14.
It's not on mine, but let me go down a little further and see if I see it. K-On! Overlord.
It also probably like individuals might get different results based on when they click.
Yeah,
on the link.
because Futanari is not
and it's on.
funny.
And I guarantee you, if I refresh this page right now, I'm gonna get
Oh
slightly
gosh,
different results.
what's great is there's one that's purely in Russian. Like you just see the Cyrillic. That's funny.
Yeah,
The
related
kiss
queries.
anime.
Yeah, fairy tale anime, Reddit anime, kiss anime, above Crunchyroll.
Woot. Okay, but anyway, you can see that these sort of metrics are interesting because they show you things that you otherwise wouldn't just run across.
Well, it's like it's insight into what I would call the market.
Well, not even that, but it's also insight into how algorithms.
Yeah, and it's insight into people's people on mass search behavior.
Yeah,
And what they're searching for and where they're searching for.
SEOs.
At SEO to an extent, but it's like it's less SEO because that's making sure your website shows up on.
Yeah,
in
that's
search
not the
of
word I was
results.
thinking of. Yeah, that's operators and all that. That's not what I was thinking of. What I can't remember
But
what I was actually trying to think of.
Yeah, but
See, this is what happens when you weren't having enough sleep.
It's just showing people the data on what people are searching for and what they're searching for relating to that.
I think it looks like you can download this stuff too. Like there's a little icon that has a down arrow with maybe that's a download. I don't know. It says
yes, you
CSV,
can.
so
yeah, so
okay.
you can download it into like a spreadsheet format.
Yeah, so like Excel or whatever. Okay, that's kind of
Yeah.
neat.
So,
And the thing is, you can
nerd stuff.
set this up for other shit too.
Oh yeah, any query you want, you can look this up and you're gonna get the same kind of data.
Right. I mean, so if you want to look up something specific, like a specific show,
If you want to look up Crunchyroll specifically.
or just anything like that, some sort of buzzword or meme.
Right. So like if you look up Crunchyroll specifically, you don't from 2004 to now, you don't get any results until July 2006.
For obvious
For
reasons.
obvious reasons.
Yeah. So it's interesting stuff. I mean, I'm not somebody who's massively into statistics. I mean, I think they're interesting.
I'm not necessarily a statistics nerd, but I am a business nerd, and this is business nerd shit to
And
me.
statistics are part of that, whether you like them or not.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of those things. Like if you're into history, that doesn't necessarily mean you like certain places of the world.
Well, that's like if you love math but want to actually use it, you become an engineer, not a mathematician.
Or maybe some sort of like astrophysicist or something where you actually have to put it into practice somehow.
Yeah.
As opposed to some dude at fucking McDonald's yelling at people.
Yeah, well, you become someone who actually uses the shit instead of someone who just does that thing all the time. So if you like statistics, you become some statistics person for a business and not just a statistician.
Yeah,
So you
you
become a
could probably
statistician for a business and not just a regular ass.
Yeah, you could
statistician.
probably be hired by like a firm or something like that, you know,
Exactly.
or and work there.
Anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
that is the show.
Okay.
The email address is ntrradio@gmail.net. The website is ntr. Did I just say gmail.net? Because I meant gmail.com. The website is ntrradio.net. You can check out VZ stuff at vzmk2moemegatai.wordpress.com. He also has a shirt. He also has a... Well, he does our shirts. You can find those at yashike.moe/store. And he has a book called The Big Book of Idols. You can find that at thebigbookofIdols.com.
Hopefully print versions will come out soon.
I'd like to point out that if you want, you could drop us a line.
Yes,
you could, or give us a rating, preferably on like iTunes or somewhere like that. I don't know where all the places you have us up on here now, but
I could go through, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's like
if
SoundCloud.
You found NTR Radio somewhere, and congratulations on finding NTR Radio.
I'm glad you said radio.
Yeah.
Congratulations on finding NTR. That's something you don't want to be surprised by.
Yeah, no. Well, we already went through that on Faku, and people didn't like it.
But it was entertaining watching people get overly upset.
You can read my stuff and some of the Geeky Panda stuff as well on yashike.moe. I sell half-naked anime girl figures at shinakiba.moe, so you can go there to buy those. I am on Twitter at TEAnubis. VZ is on Twitter at VZMK2. KGods is on Twitter at immortal_KGods. The show is on Twitter at NTR_radio. Is it NTR_radio? I think so.
Yeah. I'd like to go ahead and give a shout out to your guest, Shinden9, I believe, at Shinden9.
Big shout out to at Shinden9. Definitely have to do something like that panel again.
Maybe we'll invite him on here eventually.
It's a possibility.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're not averse to having people like that on.
No, of course not.
I mean, sometimes it brings interesting discussions or just different angles or just kind of good to bounce off of.
Yes, indeed. I'm Tom Force Anubis.
I'm KGods.
And I'm VZ Mark II.
And even though we get suckered into purchasing $2,000 Macross cells every time we say this, is NTR Radio.